Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to AMC Mailbag, the all-mailbag show here on AMC Movie News, where all we do is take your mailbag questions. My name is John Campy. I'm the editor-in-chief of AMC Movie News, and I am so excited to have back with me, once again, Miss Kat Ensley. Kat, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me back. I'm really excited to be here.
And as the name of the show suggests, this show is just about taking the mailbag questions you guys send in to us. Now, if you would like to see your question asked on either AMC Mailbag here on the weekends or on AMC Movie Talk during the week, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. We take in all the questions, we pick out a few, we put them on the show, maybe you'll see yours on here. So we've got a bunch of questions to get through today. So Kat, why don't you start us off? What do we got?
All right, first question is from Lyta Quiro. Asks, hi AMC. My question is, considering characters like Aquaman, The Flash, and Wonder Woman who will be in Justice League and Batman vs. Superman before their solo movies, do you think that if they are not well received by the audience, DC and Warner will change the actors before the solo movies, or will they take the risk and just go with them anyway? That's a good question.
That's a good question, because look, changing characters in comic book movies is not an unknown phenomenon even in modern times. Now, granted, it was a secondary character, but what's the name of the character in Thor, guys? Is it Fandral the Dashing? I know it's
which one?
Something the Dashing, but you remember it was played by the one actor first, and then it was played by Chuck. What's Chuck's name again?
Yes.
Zachary Levi. So, and which was funny because actually Zachary Levi was originally supposed to play the character in Thor 1, but then a shooting conflict came up, so they got this other actor to come in. But then another shooting conflict happened for that actor for Thor 2, so they were able to get Zachary Levi back in. So they have changed characters. This is not now. We haven't seen, Christian Bale play Batman in Batman Begins and then change him to the next film. Although the old Batman films did. They went from Michael Keaton, they had Val Kilmer, George Clooney, and now we got Ben Affleck. So, but this is a new series, of course. So it's not unprecedented. However, I think it would have to be extreme. I think it would have to be really extreme. And if it is extreme, then they'll make a change. Look, if for whatever reason, this kid, I'm forgetting, Ray something or other, who's playing Cyborg, if Ray ends up just being terrible, I mean, maybe they thought on set it worked and whatever, but then once they put it on screen, they realized this isn't working and the audience hates him and whatever, and you just know that we can't make a standalone film with this kid. What'll happen is they'll make an announcement about a scheduling conflict for the next film and they'll replace him. So I don't think any movie's ever completely married to who they have in there. You always got to do what's best for the movie. You always got to do what's best for the property. And but once again, it would have to be extreme for it to be best for the property. If people are mixed, for instance, if people are mixed on Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, then you stick with Gal Gadot.
Yep.
If people are like 60% don't like her, 40% like her, then you stick with Gal Gadot. If it's like, her mom and a few family members thought she was great and everybody else thought she was horrible, then you make the change. Yeah. The same thing would have happened with Henry Cavill for Superman.
Exactly.
If people, even a lot of people who don't like Man of Steel, which I don't understand what you're thinking.
Yeah, seriously.
But even a lot of people who don't like Man of Steel all agree, hey, Henry Cavill's actually pretty damn good. You clearly stick with Henry Cavill, but if he was hated, then they probably would have made a change. Yep. So, like I said, you'd have to be really damn bad for them to make the change at this point, but it is not something that's completely out of the question.
It's true. Do you think if they did end up having to make the change, would they make it to a more well-known actor? Because from what I can tell, a lot of these new, superheroes that are coming out are with lesser-known actors. They're not casting the Ben Afflecks, they're not casting the Matt Damons. They're casting these people that haven't really done that a whole lot. So do you think that if they are replaced, they'll be replaced with somebody more well-known?
I think that is a great question. Yeah, I think we're in the age of superhero movies now that we know you can start off a character with a relative unknown. Yeah. That's what they do. Henry Cavill has been known in Hollywood for a long time as
he was on the Tudors.
Yeah, but not necessarily amongst the fans, but the execs, the casting people in Hollywood have had their eye on Henry Cavill for a very long time. Yeah. Everybody knew he was a star just waiting for that role that would propel him. And then he came along. With superhero movies, they can do that. That's why you can get Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. That's why you can get Ray as Cyborg. That's why you can go with a relatively unknown. Not everybody knows who Jason Momoa is. That's why you can go with That's why you can go with him as Aquaman. But I think what you're asking is absolutely right. I think if they realize that if Ray doesn't work as Cyborg, if they get some relatively new kid to play a new Green Lantern or whatever, and it doesn't work, I think then what you need to do is go, okay, to reestablish confidence from the audience, we've got to go with an established name. Mm-hmm. We got to go with somebody we know can play this. It's all cool to go with a relative unknown at first because audiences will give you the benefit of the doubt. But if you try it and it fails, I think, and I could be wrong, but my opinion is that then you got to follow that up with an established name that the audience will feel comfortable with and that they already know. So for whatever reason, if Gal Gadot doesn't work out as Wonder Woman, well, you don't follow her up with Olga Kurylenko.
Oh, yeah.
You don't follow up with her. Mm-mm. What you do is then you open up the purse strings a little bit, and maybe it wouldn't have been your first choice, but then maybe you go to Kate Beckinsale and you knock on her door.
Yeah.
Maybe then you go to like another more established female, action type of character who audience members can go, okay, we feel comfortable with her because you are asking them to accept a change. Mm-hmm. So, but honestly, I think you're going to see, like I said, they would have to bomb it so badly. I think we're going to see all these characters still be these characters from the follow-ups.
I agree.
All right, what's next?
So we have Dogaru Gabrie writes, hello, AMC. You guys make my days at work more pleasant. My question is regarding the statement that John said on the AMC Movie Talk episode from Tuesday, where he said that every time we were promised a movie from the villain perspective, that the villain turned out to be good. But how about the movie Chronicle? What if the Suicide Squad movie will have that Chronicle vibe without building the villains too much because they should already be established in the DC universe and without, spoiler alert, their death? Thanks, and bring up as much episodes as you can. Oh, and bring up the filthy too. Yeah,
see, here's the thing. I don't mind a lot of these films that have a villain that then makes a turn. That's fine. I wasn't a big fan of Maleficent. I feel like we kind of got shortchanged. The marketing for Maleficent, as with a lot of movies, even Despicable Me was like this. It's like, this is a movie told from the perspective of the bad guy. But it's not really.
No.
It's about a bad guy who becomes a good guy. I mean, that's what we get in Maleficent. That's what we got in Despicable Me. That's what we get in a lot of these films.
Yep.
That they promise a villainous type of thing, and it's never really the case. With something like Chronicle, that's a little bit different because Chronicle is about this kid who becomes the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And we see him descend. That's the story. It's not a story about the bad guy. It's about this kid who then becomes a bad guy.
Interesting.
And so I don't even really think that counts. The one thing I've been saying is that my fear about Suicide Squad is, we've seen director David Ayer, whose new movie right now is kicking ass in theaters. He's also directed Fury with Brad Pitt. He's kind of saying this is going to be the Dirty Dozen with supervillains.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And I'm all for it. But if they start promising us that this is a movie about the bad guys, then make it a movie about the bad guys. Not the bad guys who, while doing good, found a new place in their heart that they love helping the little children now. I'm just saying, if you're going to, and it's fine if you want to do that, but don't promise us a movie about the bad guys and then give us a switch. If you're going to promise it to us, give that to us.
Exactly.
So that's just kind of my feeling.
If you're going to give us something that's going to be like as dark and as sinister as just as an example as like a Walter White or like the anti-hero,
right?
Keep it with the anti-hero because that always drives me crazy when they're like, oh, this is going to be a movie about the bad guy. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be dark. It's going to be twisty. And oh wait, never mind. He has a heart of gold.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. Yeah.
That's the way I'd like to see it turn out. All right, what's next?
I'd like a Loki movie myself, but that's just my love of Tom Hiddleston. Anyway, all right. Tim Groover writes, as a movie fan, we all seem to have rituals we seem to like when we're watching movies. I know for a lot of people, it's theater food. For the 15 years or so I've been going to AMC theaters, I genuinely like to drink in the movie itself rather than a soda. For films like Conjuring or The Avengers to movies like Up or The Godfather. Do you ever have a big bag of popcorn in hand all the time, or do you like to just sit back and devour the on-screen action? Thanks, and may the force be with you.
Like your Jack Daniels with the Pixar movies, huh?
Exactly. With Up. Big old drink after the first 5 minutes of Up. I mean, I needed one too. I'm not going to lie.
I can't get through that scene in WALL-E without a scotch.
It's so
no,
sad.
seriously, for me, walking into a theater, I've told this story before, but it's totally true. I have a Pavlovian response when I walk through the doors of a theater. Yeah. My mouth instantly starts watering. Even if I just came from a big dinner, doesn't matter what it is, when I walk through the door, suddenly a switch flips and I'm yearning for popcorn. I have an urge for popcorn. And it's very, very, very rare that I don't go grab a bag of popcorn with a Diet Coke.
Yep. That's my order
And
too.
even when it means that I'll get a medium popcorn, or actually I order small. Hey, if you're an AMC Stubs member, let me do an AMC Stubs plug here. This is a good time for this. If you're an AMC Stubs member, you order a small popcorn, you pay for a small popcorn, you tell them, give me an upgraded medium, and they upgrade it for free. If you want a large diet soda, you tell them, I would like to order a medium diet soda, but then flash your Stubs card, but I'd like to upgrade that to large, and you get a free upgrade. So I just want to throw that out there.
That's a very good thing.
I always order a small popcorn, tell them to upgrade it to a medium, and I take it to the theater. Maybe I'll get through 3 or 4 handfuls of popcorn. And then it goes under my seat and I never touch it again. But I have to at least have those couple of mouthfuls, you know?
I hear
It's
ya.
just so ingrained into me and a part of my whole movie. I like the word he uses in the question, ritual. It's now legitimately a part of my ritual. I gotta have the popcorn.
Yeah.
I gotta have the soda. I may never eat popcorn outside a theater ever again for the rest of my life. But as soon as I walk in, it's like, and then I have to shove something in my mouth. That didn't sound right. I have to put some popcorn in my mouth.
There we go.
Or else I'm not going to be able to handle it. So, yeah. Do you have any, movie watching rituals?
For me, honestly, it depends on the movie. I mean, if I'm going to go see Guardians of the Galaxy, or if I'm going to go see, an animated film, if I'm going to go see an action film or something, then yeah, I want to have that popcorn there to shove in my mouth and be delicious and everything. But I'm one of those huge Oscar freaks. If I think that a movie has any possibility of an Oscar nomination, I see it. I even have a jar in my house that's Oscar movie, cash. And for stuff like Birdman or something, I just want to concentrate on the movie. I don't want to get distracted by I've got a kernel in my teeth. Oh, the skin of the popcorn is caught in my gums. Oh no. So for me, it depends on the movie.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what's next?
All right. Roken writes, Yo, AMC! I am a huge fan, and luckily your episode plays right before I go to class.
Perfect.
My question for you guys is there a particular actor or actress that you strongly feel was miscast? Ooh, thanks, and keep being awesome.
It's funny. This is something that comes up a lot because I'll often say a lot of times it's not about the talent level of an actor. It's about, is it a good fit? Because you can have terrifically talented actors and they won't necessarily be a right for something. For me, it's going to take something really big to usurp this as my number one thing on this spot. For me, it will probably always be Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane in the Spider-Man movies.
Thank you.
It's just, look, you cannot deny she is a very talented actress.
Oh, yeah.
She is solid. She's good. That was not the right role for her.
They had no chemistry.
No, you're absolutely right.
No chemistry.
So not only was she just bad for the character in general,
yeah.
I just found her and Tobey Maguire were not able to play off each other well.
I wasn't rooting for them to get together.
No,
I was like, whatever,
exactly.
she dies. Big deal.
Yeah, and
I didn't care.
When an actor isn't quite a right fit for a role, then little things about that character become big annoyances. I bet if it was just a different actress in that role, playing with the exact same lines, I found Mary Jane, played by Kirsten Dunst, was really whiny and annoying. But maybe it didn't play that way in the script. Maybe it's just because those feelings in me were heightened because it was an actor playing the role that wasn't the right fit for the role. And so that's a great example because look, we can all point out a lot of movies and say, about miscast, they got a bad actor for it. That's obvious. But for me, miscasting is about somebody who's a good talent, but it wasn't right. And for me, it's Kirsten Dunst's Mary Jane. Can you think of any that really jump out to you?
I mean,
that wasn't
honestly,
a good fit?
right off the bat for me, and I'm probably going to get a lot of people hating on me, but I have to say, I have to say Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I'm sorry.
No.
I love Anne Hathaway. I love her, and I'm going to get, you guys are all going to hate on me. I'm going to get so many angry tweets. I already know I am. But I love her, but the dynamic between her and Christian Bale just didn't work for me.
Okay, you know what?
It just didn't work. I liked her in her solo scenes.
Right.
But when the two of them shared the screen, I just didn't care about her.
But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say this.
That's the part I always wanted to play, too.
I love Anne Hathaway. I love her.
She's brilliant. I love her. I have no problems with her.
Dennis and I talk about this every once in a while. It's about how when they first announced that she was cast as Catwoman, I did not see it.
See, I was excited when they first announced it.
I'm totally opposite. I did not see it. I thought she's going to be the weakest part of this movie, even though she's amazing.
Oh, she's great.
She's going to be the weakest part of this movie. This is not a good fit, blah, 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 blah. And then I saw the movie. It's like, hot damn, I thought she was the best part of Dark Knight Rises.
Really?
But I'll say this, I don't disagree with you about how I didn't feel any chemistry between her and Christian Bale.
That's my biggest issue, yeah.
Honestly, when I walked out of the theater, I attributed that to the script. I really attributed to, I never felt they set it up right to make me feel that chemistry. I felt it was just put together too disjointedly.
That's a good point.
Because you did point out when she's on her own doing her scenes,
yeah.
she owned it as Selena Kyle. She was
amazing.
Great. I never saw it coming. But then it sputtered when it was her and Christian Bale together. But like I said, I attributed that to the script myself. So that's a good example for me of the reverse of that. It's something that I did not think was going to be a good fit. And then, holy crap,
and
look
then
at that.
they proved you way wrong.
Way wrong. All right, what's next?
All right, next we have a question from Christopher Moore. He writes, "Hey AMC Movie Talk guys and gals. Thanks for taking my question. You're all swell." Well, thank you.
Swell.
I feel swell. My question is about the future box office results for Fast and the Furious 7. Given the crazy success of the last 2 Fast and the Furious movies, with F6 grossing nearly $8 million worldwide, the tragic passing of Paul Walker during production, and with a few or no movies in April of 2015 that could legitimately challenge it, could Fast and the Furious 7 become the first movie in the franchise to make $1 billion? Thank you again for answering my question. I appreciate it.
Well, let's start with let's start with the Paul Walker thing. I honestly don't think the Paul Walker tragedy is going to affect it at all.
Really?
And for a couple of reasons. Number one, Paul Walker, unlike, say, Heath Ledger, Heath Ledger was an Academy Award nominated actor.
Yep.
He had a lot of marquee films that he had done. People knew him a lot outside of Batman. Now, today, when we think of Heath Ledger, we instantly think of the Joker. But at the time, he was, the movie hadn't even come out yet.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit, Paul Walker was known for Fast and Furious, period. So it's not like there are a lot of fans outside of the Fast and Furious circles that would really be prominent in their minds. So I think there's that. The other thing is Heath Ledger died really not long before The Dark Knight came out.
Yeah.
Paul Walker, the tragedy with Paul Walker happened a long time ago now.
Almost a year ago now, yeah.
Yeah, almost a year ago now. So I think if Fast and Furious 7 had come out the following week, I think it might have made a difference.
Yeah.
But I think the people who are going to care most about the tragedy and the passing of Paul Walker and who want to see him in this last Fast and Furious. And remember, he did a couple of other films other than Fast and Furious that came out. But he was in the middle of shooting Fast and Furious. I think the people who are really going to care about going to see that last performance of his before he passed away are the ones who are already fans of the series. So, I mean, for those of us who are fans of the series, we are going to be moved. We're going to feel, I think we're going to have some emotional tugs. I think it's going to be an experience watching this film, realizing that Paul never survived to see the end of production on this. I think it's going to be significant for those of us who are fans of Fast and Furious. But I don't know that's going to have an impact on the box office per se. But now let's get back to the bigger question of the box office anyway. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible this could hit the $1 billion mark because we've seen the trajectory doing this. I often talk about don't count on a part 4 of this series because the trajectory at the box office is this. Fast and Furious, the trajectory is this.
Once they added The Rock.
Yes, once they added The Rock, made a huge difference. Suddenly it starts going up and up and up. But what will determine about whether it can go from an $800 million film to a $1 billion film is it great? The big thing that, The Rock showed up, but the last 2 Fast and Furious films have been the best in the franchise. They've been great. The quality has been doing this as well. The fun, let's face it, on a certain level, they're terrible movies, but damn it, they're fun.
They're not going to win any Oscars, but
damn
man, are they entertaining.
They are fun. The last couple, and I hated the first 3 Fast and Furious movies. Hated the first 3. I thought the first one was just a pathetic knockoff of Point Break, and then the other 2 were blah, and then all of a sudden number 4 comes out. I'm like, that wasn't so bad. And then 5 comes out with The Rock. It's like, holy crap, that was fun. And then number 6 was just mind blowing. Like, it was so much fun, so much entertainment. If they can replicate that in Fast and Furious 7, to the point where people want to go back. That's the thing. For you to be a movie that crosses the $1 billion mark, you got to get people going back multiple times. There are exceptions, but generally speaking. And so what will determine if this Fast and Furious can go from that $700, $800 million plateau into the $1 billion mark is not so much going to be the passing of Paul Walker, the tragedy there, but it's going to be about, did they knock it out of the park to the point that people want to go back and watch a couple times? Because I went back to see Fast and Furious 6 3 times.
Wow.
And I'm hoping I get that same feeling with this one.
Nice. I know a lot of my friends of mine that kind of gave up after Fast and the Furious after 1 and 2 came out, and they didn't see 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
And I know a lot of them are saying that since Paul Walker died, now they want to see 7.
People want to come back to the fold now.
Exactly. And I've actually had a lot of people who have watched now 3, 4, 5, and 6 in anticipation for 7. So hopefully that horrible, horrible tragedy will at least do a little bit of good.
Yeah.
A little bit.
What's next?
All right. Eva Varga writes, so DC definitely took the lead big time when it comes to diversity of their main heroes. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg will all get their own solo films. Do you think that for once, DC being in the lead in something important as this will finally prompt Marvel to announce some non-white male lead movies? I really want them to drop some Captain Marvel and Black Panther news, and soon, maybe for 2016 and 2017.
Yeah, this question's been coming up a lot. We've got to keep a couple things in perspective, though. Remember, and I know this isn't what Eva is referring to. Some people have been asking, finally, the first female-led superhero movie, finally, the first black-led superhero movie with Cyborg and Wonder Woman. It's not the first female-led superhero movie, and it's not the first black. Remember, on the female side, we had Aeon Flux. Yep. On the female side, we had Catwoman. On the female side, we had Elektra. We've had Supergirl. Yep. We've had female-led superhero movies. We've had a bunch of them.
They just haven't done very well.
They've just not necessarily been very good.
Well.
I mean, an argument can be made about that the Underworld franchise is kind of like that because it started as a graphic novel.
Yeah.
On the black-led superhero films, we've had Blades 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, we have.
I still count Black Dynamite as a superhero movie. If you have not seen Black Dynamite, I'm not talking about the animated stuff. I'm saying the actual movie with Michael Jai White, Black Dynamite. I watched that movie sitting beside Craig Robinson.
You did not.
I did. The first time I watched Black Dynamite, I was sitting beside Craig Robinson. And Craig Robinson is the loudest laugher in a movie theater I have ever heard in my life. And because that movie is so damn funny, he was laughing a lot. So we had that. You got Spawn. You've got the aforementioned Catwoman. So these films have been around, right? But this is a new age. This is the new Marvel age, the new DC age, and the new cinematic universes. Let's not go giving Warner Brothers and DC any pats on the back about Wonder Woman. That's brain dead. I mean, that is absolutely a no-brainer. Yeah. She is part of the holy trinity of DC comic. It's Superman, it's Batman, it's Wonder Woman. What would be noticeable and distinct is if Wonder Woman was not in these lists. You can't possibly announce 6 films. I mean, maybe you can just do Superman and maybe you can just do Batman. But if you're going to expand anywhere beyond that, you better include Wonder Woman because she's Wonder Woman, for heaven's sakes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let's not be giving Warner Brothers big pats on the back for gender diversity and equality. Okay, yeah, but anybody, with 1 foot would make Wonder Woman, right? So you gotta do that. Cyborg in the New 52 is a founding member of the Justice League. But I give Warner Brother more credit for the Cyborg one. I mean, because while he is a founding member of the Justice League in the New 52, most people are not familiar with the New 52, and therefore I think that is something for them to get some recognition for. But Cyborg doesn't even have a release date right now. At earliest, it's coming in 2020.
Yeah.
So,
golly. And
I'm going to go on record right now. I believe that they may have been the first to announce Cyborg, but I totally believe that Kevin Feige, for a long time, by long time I don't mean years, I probably mean months, has had a plan for Black Panther. I think we're going to see, this new Avengers Age of Ultron trailer has given us glimpses into the opening us up to the world of Black Panther. I believe we are going to have a Black Panther movie before we have a Cyborg movie. And also with Marvel, let's remember too, they have had Black Widow has been one of the most prominent characters in the cinematic. Has she been the character? Have you built a movie around her? No, because you don't build a movie around the one weakest person.
Exactly.
She has no powers.
No, she's just really bendy.
That's why I'm not really big on either her or Hawkeye having their own films, right? When in this team of basically gods. But despite that fact, they have made her feature prominently in the Avengers, prominently in Avengers 2 marketing. She was a key character in Captain America 2.
Yep.
And going to Captain America 2, we got introduced to who will eventually be one of our Avengers, and that's Falcon.
Yep.
You know, we've got Falcon is their first black character. He's going to be there somehow. I don't think he's going to be in Avengers 2, but you know he's going to be in Captain America 3. And then you just know he's going to be, I'm guessing he's going to be in Avengers 3. And maybe at some point he will have his own standalone film as well. So I give WB no credit for the Wonder Woman thing. I do give them credit for the Cyborg thing.
There you go.
But that's not till at least 2020. So I believe that even though Warner Brothers in the sense of diversity right now is ahead because of the announcement, I actually believe Marvel will give us a Black Panther movie before the Cyborg movie ever hits theaters.
Interesting, because I was going to say, when I was reading this question earlier, I was thinking back to all of the female superhero movies that have come out and just how really terrible they are.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to actually have Wonder Woman finally, but she's always been my favorite.
All right.
You know, I mean, I'm a girl, so of course. All
What's
right.
next?
So Luke Weekland writes, "Hi guys, found you on YouTube when the leaked photos of the black Robocop suit first appeared and have been hooked ever since. My question is, have you heard anything on a Robocop sequel?"
You know what? Robocop was one of those. I was just thinking about Robocop because I just saw Birdman recently, and thinking about Michael Keaton because Michael Keaton's in the Robocop remake.
I love him.
Robocop. Look, everybody expected that movie to suck. Everybody, and you know what? I did too. But not because it was a remake. I thought it was going to suck because I just didn't think it looked very good.
Yeah.
But everybody, mostly because it was a remake, and then because the trailers weren't so good, but everybody went into that film expecting it to suck. And I remember I was at the premiere of it, and Michael Keaton was there and all that kind of stuff. And we came out, and a lot of us stood around afterwards and went, well, that wasn't bad. Like, what? That actually wasn't bad. And now, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, the majority, I think it's like a 52, but the majority of critics, just slightly more than half the critics gave it a positive review. The audience rating is also on the positive side. It made decent money at the box office. Right. It actually made cash. So I think you can go back and do this again. I got to tell you, I think most people, even people who I think would give it a negative review, would say they were kind of pleasantly surprised because it's better than almost everybody thought it was going to be. Which to me kind of proves the point again that you can do remakes and it doesn't have to be as good as the original. You want it to be as good as the original, but if the original is iconic and all-time great, well, you don't need every movie to be iconic and all-time great. If you make a remake and you have a good time at the theater, that's all that matters. And I gotta tell you, I enjoyed Robocop. I didn't love it. I didn't run back and see it a second time in theater, but I enjoyed it and I had fun with it, and I think it surprised a lot of people. So that combined with the fact that it made bank, it made money, got better reviews than I think they thought it was gonna get. They got better crowd reactions than they thought it was gonna get. I haven't heard anything about a sequel myself. But I would be surprised if in the next 2 years we don't hear an announcement about a Robocop sequel. I think it'll happen.
See, for me, Robocop, for some reason, I always end up thinking about the really terrible character in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, the one who broke into her apartment. That's where my head always goes. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, that's not Robocop. That's just specific to that film. Anyway,
all right, let's move on to the last question of the day.
Last question. Carl Brisbios writes, "Hello, AMC crew. Love your show, and I can't wait for Jedi Council to come back. With the anniversary of Small Town just past us... Smallville, hi, I can read. Just past us, and recently watching Draft Day, could we ever see Tom Welling have a cameo somewhere in the new DC movies? So many actors from the past Superman movies and TV have already made cameos. Brandon Routh in Arrow, Dean Cain, Christopher Reeves, Annette O'Toole in Smallville, just to name a few."
No. And Brandon Routh is not a cameo in Arrow, actually. Brandon Routh, he's playing the Atom. I mean, he's not cameoing. He's playing the Atom. He is now a regular character on the show. So there's that. And yes, in Smallville, they did bring in a lot of people. Like Annette O'Toole is a great example of that. I believe she played Lana Lang in Superman 3 or 4. It wasn't Superman 2. So anyway,
I think it was 3.
It's the one where he had drunk Superman and whatever. Anyway, and then she played, Clark's mom, and then we had Christopher Reeve, and we had, I think Margot Kidder. I think she cameoed as well in Smallville. Yeah.
Oh.
So there's that, but it brings back horrible memories for me of when they were going to be doing a new Superman movie, and everybody who were fans of Smallville, and I watched every season of Smallville. I am a Smallville fan. I like Smallville. I really did. I wasn't really big on it took a couple seasons for me to warm up to it. As a matter of fact, I didn't go back and start watching season 1 and season 2 until I picked it up in season 3.
Interesting.
I picked up in season 3. I thought this is okay, and then by season 4, I started to like it. And then I went back and watched the first couple of seasons. I'm a Tom Welling fan, but I remember getting into huge arguments and so much hate mail. Look, I get a lot of hate mail for a lot of different things, but I don't know that I've ever gotten more hate mail than for 2 things. Number one, saying that a Halo movie wasn't going to happen, and it didn't. I think it will eventually, but this is going back a few years. But the other one, absolutely, that I got more hate mail than for anything else, saying it would be a terrible decision to have Tom Welling play Superman. And my argument about that was simply because Smallville was not Superman. It wasn't. It was like an Elseworld. It was an alternate kind of reality. They took so many liberties with the Superman mythology and whatever. That's what that was. It was great for what it was. I enjoyed it. I watched it every week. But that wasn't Superman.
Yeah.
That was Smallville. And we were coming in, they were getting ready to do a new Superman movie, and people saying, you got to get Tom Welling. It's like, no. You don't understand. They're not making Smallville the movie.
Yeah.
They're making Superman. And you don't want to muddy the waters and confuse things and cross-confuse all this kind of stuff. You didn't want that. I love Tom Welling. I really celebrate, honestly, whenever I see him pop up in some things now and again. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I wish him nothing but continued success. I hope he's a big star. He would have been a big star, and then he was in that movie, The Fog, and that kind of killed any momentum he had, which is really unfortunate. But anyway, I never thought he should be Superman. And then people, fanboys are so weird because they took me saying that, logical, rational.
Yeah.
Smallville wasn't Superman. It was an Elseworld thing. The creators of the show used that word Elseworld. It was an Elseworld rendition. Now they're making Superman. They're 2 different things. And me saying that, fanboys started jumping up and down on me saying, you hate Tom Welling. You're not a real fan of Smallville. Shut your stupid mouth. Yes, I am a real fan of Tom Welling. Yes, I really did love Smallville, but that doesn't mean I bury my head in the sand of ignorance and go blah, 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 blah. No, it didn't make sense for what they were trying to do. So, do I think we're going to see Tom Welling do a cameo in a Superman movie? Let's put it this way.
Do you?
Would I be happy to see it? Would I be happy if Clark is standing in a Starbucks in line to get coffee and, you need a scene where somebody bumps coffee out of his hand and then you look up and it was Tom Welling that did it, just grabs a newspaper then and go? I would be thrilled. I would think that would be awesome. I think it would be a lot of fun. But do I think they're going to do that? I don't think they will. It would be cool. But I don't think they will.
I kind of wish that they would do that, but with all of them. With Brandon Roth, and he's in the background, eating a sandwich, and then you look up and, there's a Christopher Reeves movie poster, and then the guy behind him is Dean Cain. That would be really kind of cool.
That, if you had, a collection of all of them at once?
Everyone who's ever played Superman.
That would...
Just all be in, one scene, and they're just the background people.
Funny.
No lines, no, recognition. It's just, literally, maybe Dean Cain is sitting and having, a drink with Brandon Roth, in a scene.
That
just
would
for
be
no real reason.
Well, even look at television right now. You've got that new show, Flash, which is actually pretty good. They got the new show, Flash. And so what they did, though, is they went and they got the guy who played Flash in the 80s to now play his dad.
Yep.
That was a pretty cool idea,
That's
actually.
awesome.
And so that kind of stuff I'm in for. But, yeah, I don't think we're going to see Tom Welling in any kind of DC stuff. But if they did, I'd be for it. As long as, it's cameo, whatever. Don't confuse the issue. But if they found something that worked,
yeah,
I'd be all for it.
let him pop up like Stan Lee pops up in all of his movies. Just random guy on the street.
Now, Tom Welling's no Stan Lee.
No, of course. Not saying that,
yes.
People. Please don't come and try to kill me for that sentence.
But that would be interesting. All right, folks. Well, that will do it for us for this installment of AMC Mailbag. Thank you so much for joining us today. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and, of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed so you can listen to us on the way to work or you're at the gym or whatever. And don't forget, share this video around, click the thumbs up button. Great way for you to let people know that, and let us know that you like what we're doing. I want to thank, of course, Miss Kat Ensley for being here and helping me out today. Kat, where can people find you online?
Well, you guys can find me on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, all just at Kat Ensley. It's very, very simple. And it's just so much fun to be here. I love being here.
Awesome.
I would love to come back again.
Thank you for being here. Of
course.
course, you guys can find me on all the various social media channels at Facebook or Twitter, whatever. Just follow me at John Campea. So that'll do it for us for here on AMC Mailbag. Thanks a lot for joining us. And until next time, my name's John Campea. Bye-bye.